Hi Sandra, I wanted to address this in a video because I kind of wanted to go over the payment options. Yes, I have helped folks who owe money from prior years and current years, as well as I still do. So there's lots of different ways. Some of them you can do yourself. So I wanted to give you some ideas in case something applies to your situation and you can, instill it yourself. The first one is the IRS does have short-term payment plans that you can set up. And this is if you owe, you could pay within 180 days or less. So that's always something to keep in mind. You can talk to the IRS, communicate, and have that set up. The IRS doesn't charge any extra fees for this. They just kind of give you more time knowing that they're going to collect their money shortly. There are penalties and interest that still accrue for late payment. And that's just standard. So this is an option if you can afford to pay within a short period of time. The IRS also has installment agreements. This is if you think that you can pay the money within 10 years without accruing, excessive more debt that you would need to add on. An installment agreement is always a great idea. And the IRS essentially takes the full amount that you owe plus any interest and penalties I think you might owe, and divide it by 10 years and figure out your monthly payments. If that's something you can afford, that's something that, you might want to consider. You can set up your own installment agreement online. There you can have an account online and just set that up. It does cost a fee, so I don't remember what the fee is, but you'd have to do that. If you default on any payments, you'd have to set it up again. But you can combine multiple years in one installment agreement. Generally, with installment agreements, if you owe over $25,000, the IRS does require that they take the money out monthly from your account. So keep that in mind. If you owe under, then in general, the IRS will let you pay if you want. The way that you want. You can log on to their site and pay every time. You can call on the phone. You can send them a check. But that you just still have to do it consistently or you will default. So just make sure you keep that in mind. The other big thing is called an offer in compromise. I generally don't work with these because I think it is a very expensive way to waste money for most people. There's a lot of companies out there that advertise that they can reduce your IRS debt. They can get rid of a lot of it. They've done it for millions of dollars and thousands of people. I don't know if that's true, but most people don't qualify. So just because you owe $50,000 to the IRS does not mean that you can hire somebody to fill out some paperwork and the IRS will say, yeah, we'll reduce it to $20,000. No, if the IRS thinks that they can collect within 10 years, they will deny you. So if you still have a reasonable income coming in through various sources, if they think you have potential of getting, if you might be currently unemployed, but you have the potential of getting gainful employment in the future or soon, then they will deny that. I don't know what the percentages are, but most offer and compromises are denied. At least the first couple of times they're submitted. So since these places often charge a lot of money, you'd really have to consider your situation. And if you think that you have zero potential in the next 10 years to even remotely pay off this volume of debt, it's not going to happen. You're not going to earn this kind of money. The IRS cannot collect. You can't sell your house and pay it off, nothing. Then it might be worth considering that option. Essentially, offer and compromise is where you make an offer to the IRS and say, within this amount of time, I can pay X, Y, and Z amount, or I can pay it off in installments within this amount of time, but I can't do the full amount. And the IRS comes back with a counter offer or agrees to it or denies it. So that's your other option. But I generally set up installment agreements for people or direct them to do something themselves because it's cheaper.